Good morning, students. Welcome back. Today we are going to perform one of the experiment from paper 1, that is eco technology. This is paper 1, and the first experiment from the minor experiment is to determine the root density. So the aim of the experiment, today's experiment, is to determine the root density. And next, coming up to the theory, normally the roots, you know that it is one of the part of the plant. So this is the, consider if this is a plant and this is considered to be the root. So this is the main root system, that is said to be taproot system, and there are two types of root, you know it, that is fibrous and the taproot system. So if it is a taproot system, only one main root is present which penetrates under the ground, and rest of these roots are said to be the lateral roots. So this roots, what is the main function of this lateral root is to uptake the nutrient and water from the soil. So what we are going to do today is that we are going to find out what is the length of the primary roots, as well as what are the different, or what are, we are going to count the number of lateral roots, and we are going to find out how many lateral roots are present according to the length of the primary roots. So coming up to the theory, that is the fine roots, and these fine roots is defined as those which are having the length that is less than 2 nanometer diameter. So any roots which is having less than 2 nanometer in diameter, we can say that this is a fine root, and these roots are responsible for the uptake of water and nutrients to the soil, from the soil to the plants, and they normally controls the or their main role is controlling the nutrients and water cycle at the plant and the ecosystem. So you can say that these roots are very important, and their main function is the uptake of water and minerals from the soil to the plants. Next, coming up to the RLD. What does the RLD stands for? That is root length density. So root length density is the total root, it is the total root length per unit soil. Total root length per unit of the soil. So this is said to be the root length density. So today we are going to find out the root length of the plant. And one more term, that is fine root length, means you know that what do you mean by fine root? Those roots which are having the diameter less than 2 nanometer. So if a plant is having a very high amount of a number of fine root, then we can say that it will increase the hydraulic contact, or it will make this fine root makes the water and nutrients more available to the plants. So these are certain terms which are related to the root density, that is fine root length, as well as the root length density. You know it, what is root length density? It is the total amount of root length, total root length per unit of the soil. Now coming up to the one more term, that is the fine root biomass. Fine root biomass. So what is fine root biomass? It is an imparameter related to the carbon turnover. So what is fine root biomass? It is a parameter which is related to the carbon turnover at the ecosystem level. मतलब ecosystem level पे कितना amount of carbon का turnover हुआ है, and that's why the name, that is the fine root biomass. Biomass means at the ecosystem level what is the turnover of the carbon. So the experiment, what are the requirements related to the experiment is wheat grains, or you can choose any type of seeds which can grow within a 1 week. So after growing the seed till 1 week, and then we are going to find out the root length and the number of lateral roots. So here you can choose either the groundnut seed as well as the moong seed. So we are going to choose both the seeds, that is groundnut seeds and the moong seeds, or you can choose any type of seeds which can gives you the result within a week. So we are going to select a pot cutter, where we are going to cut the we are going to cut the plant parts. So we need the seed, that is the groundnut seed as well as the moong seed, and then we are going to measure the, after growing these seeds to till 1 week, we are going to find out the length of the roots after growing after the 1 week. So the main requirement is the groundnut seed as well as the moong seed. The next step is the procedure. So we are going to start the experiment from the seed. In order to know that the age of the root tissue, you are going to measure. So हम क्या करते हैं, सीड को हम डायरेक्टली ग्रो करते हैं, सो दैट हमें पता चले कितने डेज का वो प्लांट हमारे पास अवेलेबल है, और उसके अनुसार कितना उसका लेंथ, और या फिर प्राइमरी रूट का लेंथ है या फिर लैटरल रूट्स का लेंथ है. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to soak the seeds overnight. हम क्या करते हैं, soak करते हैं seed को overnight. You have to take 2 types of seeds, that is the groundnut seed as well as the moong seed. We are going to soak it overnight, or you can else sow it directly. So spread it next day, spread it over the soil in a pot. और हम ये दोनों टाइप ऑफ जो सीड है, वी आर गोइंग टू सोक इट और स्प्रेड इट इन द सॉइल ऑन 2 डिफरेंट पॉट. ठीक है ना. अलाउ इट टू ग्रो फॉर अ वीक. हम क्या करते हैं, इस वी आर गोइंग टू इरिगेट दिस both this pot, that is of groundnut as well as the moong. We have spread over here the seeds. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to irrigate it. हम daily इसको सुबह और शाम को, morning and evening, we are going to irrigate this soil so that the plant can easily grow by absorbing the nutrients as well as the water. Now take out the roots. So after 7 to 8 days, you can find out the growth of the plant has been taken place, and if it is if it is more than 8 centimeter, then we can easily uproot this type of plant. So after 7 days, you can find out the growth of the plant has been taken place, both groundnut as well as moong. Now what we have to do is that we have to pick out the root. हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा, uproot करना पड़ेगा, so that we can get the upper part as well as the lower part. So while uprooting it, we are going to remove it slowly, so that each and every part of the root, it should be clear and should not break at any type of the movement while uprooting it. So what we are going to do is that uprooting the plants, and after uprooting we have to wash it gently by means of the water. पानी के मदद से हम क्या करेंगे, इस रूट्स को अच्छी तरह वॉश कर लेंगे, so that the dirt will be removed off. And after removing, so in this way we are going to plot a observation table, and this observation table we have to find out the first column, that is serial number. So this is the first column, serial number 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the numbering. And next is the seed types. So we have chosen the groundnut seed as well as the moong seed. Now we are going to uproot this groundnut seed plant one by one. So after uprooting the first groundnut plant, we are going to find out the length of the primary root. So length of primary root. The main root system, that is said to be the primary root. So this is the length of the primary root. We have to measure it. Consider if it is 8 centimeter and the length of the lateral root. Length of lateral root. So if consider the first length of the primary root, if it is 8 centimeter and the lateral root system, they are 43. So we are going to write in this way. So this is the primary root length, that is 8 centimeter, and these are the lateral roots. We are just going to count the number of lateral roots. So if it is the roots, what are the different type of number of lateral roots, we have to count it. And in this way we are going to perform an experiment by taking at least 5 to 8 observation. This is the first observation. Second observation, consider if it is 8.5 and if it is 45. Next is if it is 7, if it is 30. Next if it is 10 and it is 47. So in this way we are going to find out the or take the observation of at least 5 observations, and we are going to find out the mean. So consider if the mean is 8.26 and the total lateral roots divided by the number of roots, that is 155 observation, will gives you the 43. So mean of the lateral roots as well as the mean of the primary roots, we are going to find it. Similarly, we are going to perform the same experiment for the moong. Here also we are doing the same thing. We are uprooting it, then we are going to find out the primary root. So here will be the length of primary root, and here is the lateral roots number या फिर number of lateral roots, कितना amount of lateral roots present है. So similarly here also uprooting it, we are going to find out the primary root length as well as the number of lateral roots. So consider if it is 11.5, it is 23, it is 9.8 centimeter in length and it contains 84 lateral roots. If it is 8.6 centimeter in length and it contains 22 lateral roots. Similarly, at the end of the fifth observation, after the fifth observation, we are going to find out the mean. So consider if the mean is 10.18 and if the mean of the lateral roots, it is 25.6. So we are going to find out the length of the primary roots as well as the lateral roots. So this is our observation table. After the observation table, we have to make a final table, and in this table we are going to find out the conclusion. So here we know that these are the plants. We have selected 2 plants, that is groundnut plant as well as the moong plant. So the primary root length, and it is written over here. So whatever you get the primary root length, that is 8.26, you have to write it down. Similarly, you have to write down the lateral root length. So for the ground seed, how much you get the primary root length as well as the lateral roots, that is 43 you have to write down. Similarly for the moong, you have to write down the primary root length, that is 10.18 considered, and if it is 2.56 as the root length. So by this we are going to find out the root density. So what is the formula of root density? The root density can be calculated by means of root number divided by root length. So here the root number, what is the root number? Root number is 43 divided by 8.26 root length. So that will comes almost 5.20. So what is the root density? The root density is nothing but the 5.20 for the groundnut, and for the moong it will be, what is the root number? That is 25 point, sorry, 225, this is 25.6 divided by 10.18. It will give around 2.51. So the root length or root density of the groundnut is 5.20 and of moong is 2.51. So we can say that the root density of groundnut is more than that of the root density of the moong, because here the density or the spread of the roots is more in case of the groundnut, because it contains more amount of the, or the length of the primary root length is also more than that of the moong, as well as the lateral roots are comparatively more than that of the moong. So in this way we are going to perform an experiment for the root density of the plant. So today we have completed one of the minor experiment, that is to determine the root density. Thank you for watching.